Hello everyone, this is Ether Dragon, and welcome back to another episode of Fire Emblem Heroes. So, as you can see, we had a pretty garbo week on offense, and as we'll see, defense this week, but for defense, pretty much expected at this point. Folks are actually learning how to tackle a very jank defense, but let's get started. And of course, the recurring theme for most of these clears is, of course, player phasing, because that is what this defense excels at being bad at. Dealing with player phase aggression. But of course, if you play too aggressively, then not so great things happen. But this week on offense, it was pretty much a garbo week. No bonus unit on offense. Of course, our usual one team. It's pretty bad against Fallen Edelgard. We can beat Fallen Edelgards. It's just the problem is there's other units that exist that are even more threatening than her on the same team, which is what makes things more complicated. It's less, I feel like it's less about Fallen Edelgard herself, but the rest of the team just being a massive threat regardless. My second to I think it was my second to last offense match this week. I was up against a far save Fallen Edelgard with a Saros, dual Peony, Mirabilis, dual lift, young Innis. I could be missing someone, but I'm not counting. And my plan was to utilize my Bolt Tower because I was like, I can use my Bolt Tower to chip down the far safe Fallen Edelgard, then pick up the kill and just run. Oh, there's Bright Catria, the most important unit on the team. Yes, the teleportation and triangle attack shenanigans is definitely dangerous if you're not prepared. And well, unfortunately, I was too brain dead at that point and did not notice at all that there was a level 8 catapult in column 3, so that was just basically basically just an L. Let's just put it that way. And well, we couldn't really do anything at that point because we had to deal with far save if we wanted to initiate into someone that wasn't way too far into enemy territory, and so we just basically sacked that match. Just let their rally trap and shenanigans go off and just take the L. That's what happens sometimes, but that's how it goes. Honestly, there wasn't too much I could have done differently, but I definitely would have done something different had I realized the Volt Tower was going to get destroyed. But all in all, I definitely did like attack defense unity on Legendary Julia this week. It was pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, what's done is done. Definitely learned a bit more this week about building more consistent offense teams. That's pretty much the reason why I use one team. You get to see what you're missing and what you might need in other teams. So if we ever do get around to actually trying, we could definitely build a decent set of teams rather than just one. But you could see that was player phase madness. This is also looks like some player phase madness. Now they have a dual Lin, they have their duo's indulgence, they have Fallen Edelgard, of course, for extra actions and stuff, so what could possibly go wrong? And yeah, just getting set up. I haven't actually watched this replay yet, so we'll see what happens here. I definitely like the Duma catapult thing, but you'll see in some future replays that people don't make some smart decisions. This is not a very smart decision. What is Fallen Edelgard supposed to do against Larshell? Which you can't counter, which means we just dance and go snipe down units. And so we can take out their Sylvia. Even though Sylvia has quite a large attack stat, Larshell definitely hits super hard. And well, Elowood at least doesn't have to take Edelgard's counter here, but Duma doing Duma things, able to actually double the unit with Bold Fighter Pog. And so Ripperoni to Fallen Edelgard because, well, hitting end turn in range of Staff of Rouston like that is not the optimal play, let's put it that way. I'm actually kind of confused why they didn't just use Dual Lin and Dancer to go wreak havoc, but you know, decisions are decisions, we will never know. But yeah, other than that, looking forward to seeing how my meme Dark Defense does next week, or next season I should say. It'll be interesting. I do expect to get rolled quite often to end turn. I'm also pretty certain we'll get rolled by hit and run. Gale Force is a bit more suspicious, but I think it's completely feasible. And if I see someone do Vantage, I can also see it, but it's definitely trickier when all my units, non-mythic units, have plus 5 HP and plus, what is that, 5 defense, which is quite a bit from not. But of course the other thing is that there's a certain Valencian Palo that's bonus, so I could totally see a full sweep from some Palos with some good play, but we'll see. Duma on his little meme rampage, and well, just not very great execution on their part, and grabbing the ether structures is definitely non-trivial at this point. So they just have to settle for the kill and call it a day. I do recognize that these replays videos get pretty long nowadays because more of these matches take more turns. So yeah, might consider reducing animations again, but if we have the time, it's kind of the might as well just record it all. Now here we have Brave Hector, Brunya, Fallen Edelgard, even have Bright Fjorm and a healing tower in column 5. And they just decide to hit end turn because, well, Mirabilis can't dance, but I don't know if it occurred to them that Olivia still exists. So Olivia can dance, and their Bride Fjorm is fair game. And nearly one-shotting, that's pretty much La Rochelle in a nutshell. Still actually wouldn't have one-shot even if Staff of Rouston procced on Fjorm, I don't believe. I believe she was already getting debuffed by Sabotage Defense or something, so Flower of Ease was already procced. That's here. Duma taken out by good old Brave Hector. And Fallen Edelgard pick up the kill on La Rochelle. La Rochelle never gets to pick up Miracle. It's just a meme. If it ever happens anyways, at that point she's typically low on HP anyways. So it's not too big of a deal most of the time. And here we take out Shamir, of course, one shot. Bonfire is definitely useful on Fallen Edelgard to miss fewer kills. But Elwood and company are just gonna potato. And there's not much we can do there, but they don't pick up the ether structures, so I guess there's that, but not really. Because you can definitely afford to sack ether structures. It's less so if you're doing a double match, but for a single match, definitely. And well, it wouldn't be our meme anima defense if it weren't for the matchups against dual Lins, dual peonies, more dancers, reg and all that stuff. Dragback's kind of interesting. I'm definitely thinking about changing Regan's B slot to like hit and run or something, because I feel like it would be super useful in some matchups. But then the problem is then you're not running low speed defense, and then Regan actually has a much harder time doubling As funny as that sounds, because we are running attack defense solo primarily. And here they decide to double smite in, which is totally fine if you don't have disarm trap. It also helps to have more dancers. Kind of an interesting choice to take out Shamir. There's multiple ways you can take care of the defenses, but just the straightforward player phase, new katana stuff. No one on my defense has any real bulk. The closest is Duma, and that's not saying much when Naga exists. So he's definitely very funny in arena though, I gotta say. But here, they're able to dual bait Olivia and Mirabilis with their units here. And again, common problem is the dancers don't have enough kill power to threaten 1-round KOs, so people can afford to make these kind of plays. So there's some people, there's always a drawback to doing this, but some people will run like on Mirabilis, for example, they'll run Brave Sword with like Death Blow and stuff, just really boosting their attack. Or like Ninja Katana even, and go for mini turbo Mirabilis, which definitely can threaten units, threaten one round KOs on units, even like, especially like Reagan, who doesn't have a lot of HP. Brave weapons on dancers are super nice, but the problem is then they're more prone to just the potatoing and attacking rather than dancing, so there's always a trade-off. And well, it's been quite a while since I've seen one, but Pirate Tibarn. You don't see him around too often, but you know, he's definitely quite a strong unit with Dive Bomb. His kit works very well with his weapon and whatnot. And like usual, people are just getting set up. I'm still debating what kind of style defense I want to do. I definitely feel like I should just goofball with some restore shenanigans, but have to figure out a way to make it bad enough to not just constantly single snipe people's units, because that's a very common theme in restore shenanigans. People will just get one of their units sniped down because they're not familiar with restore traps, or they just can't be bothered to actually care. But Pirate Tibarn doing his job, proccing Gale Forces, 1-round KOing units before they can counter. And Fallen Edelgard unable to take out Duma in one shot. The only unit on my team with any sort of bulk. But of course it doesn't matter because he just has more actions. And with Gale Force, we can go yet again and take out Larshell before Larshell takes things out of hand. And they can also fling in Regan to take out Shamir, because she could also be quite a threat if not checked properly. And at this point there's nothing Mirabilis can do except, you know, maybe potentially die in one shot, so they can't yoink the ether structures. But it just so happens that I think Flower of Ease works against us here, and Edelgard barely misses the kill on Mirabilis, but now she won't miss the kill. But only doing 28 damage, interesting. But she's not transforms too, so there's that. And well, of course, this wouldn't be a meme team if it weren't for no check against Winter Altina, because Vantage with Null Sea Disrupt is always a solid option in Ether raids, and even more solid to have a Brave weapon with Distant Counter built into it. Because for anyone who's been watching with videos for a while, trying to one-shot units with just raw attack is not a trivial matter in Ether raids. Being able to double via Brave weapon is so huge in a lot of instances. They decided to play it a little far away, but it all works out. I just don't personally like this, but it doesn't really matter because no one ever can survive, so it doesn't really matter. Like, even if Elwood didn't have to face twin blades, he's still getting two-shot, so... And Mirror Bliss is just going to get Potato. But you can see Winter Altina is still taking a good chunk of damage there. So like, it's kind of the deal of, if she doesn't kill, she's definitely in danger of dying, but of course there's really not much of a risk there when you're attacking twice. In vantage range with Null Sea Disrupt, and the enemy units don't have a lot of bulk on defense. But it's kind of that reason why dancers like, let's see, the Dancer Eldian can be a threat to Winter Altina because they can stack pretty high defense, and of course with something like Bonfire, Winter Altina is definitely in trouble if she's too slow. And here we have this team here, Bright Fjorm, we got Henriette, Duel, kind of a mishmash of basically a lot of common strategies here. Good old far save. Generally works pretty well. I gotta say though, with far save and stuff, I feel like Flame's almost a necessity against some matchups because, yeesh, some units can chuck out a lot of damage. Let's just put it that way. And here they take out Olivia, they have Mirror Bliss isolated, so they can just sit and chill, wait for the enemy units to approach, which is exactly what's going to happen. And it's just easy pickings at this point. Exact one shot from Regan. Or something like that, yeah. And of course we're not going to be able to do anything here. Just pick up the triple kill. And it's GG. But I guess, wait, did they already use their duo? They might have used their duo skill already, I'm not paying attention. But running away is also perfectly fine, because yoinking the ether structure won't be too difficult, given the last unit's probably going to be Duma. But yeah, honestly, the main reason why my Dark defense is remotely better than my Anima defense is, well, besides having Not now, just being able to chuck out damage, and being pseudo-tanky, that's the biggest part of it. Because being able to take hits from player phase strategy is definitely useful, or have some actual way to punish. Not that my Dark defense actually has a good way to punish with good execution, but interesting team here. I haven't watched this replay, so I'm not entirely sure what they're scheming here. There's a Layla with Merrick, I would guess here. Just a lot of player phase option. Seems kind of suspicious, because of course, if you don't have a source of isolation, don't snipe down dancers. You have to deal with the range of my units, because of course Elwood's going to get dance. Of course he can't reach anyone, but it's actually Larishal that's the threat because of aerobatics. So Ripperinos to Merrick. But that's basically the extent of the defense against hit and run. It's just Elwood, maybe, and then Larishal. So it's just a clean sweep at this point, most likely. And well, Duma's not going to do much against the Sheriff, but you know, he can do a bit of damage. That's the thing about Duma, he can do some damage, but he just kind of never gets to. The forever recurring problem. And of course, like usual, 2 dancers are left, and they're not gonna do anything. And this is approaching, I guess, towards the end of the season, so they don't really need to pick up the ether structures if they don't want to, but they can definitely pick them up if they want. And it looks like they are going to. So, just another straightforward clear. Nothing too mind-blowing here. I share his Tomy animation, though. Actual... reminds me of stuff from, like, animations from, like, Dragon Ball Z and stuff. Alright, looks like another player phase-oriented team. There are definitely many ways to approach this team, but player phasing is the most straightforward if you know what's going on. Isolation is definitely not a must to beat this kind of team. But Lara Shell's range when she gets danced is pretty threatening, so you do have to consider that. And here's something people do that's 100% an option, it's intentional. You can just break that catapult and leave as long as you have a ranged unit and some dancer. Like some ranged unit of like Repo or whatever. It doesn't really matter, or drawback or whatnot. It doesn't really matter too much, but that gives you access to like Mirror Bliss and just connecting the team together again, because otherwise it can be a little bit harder to set up a Gale Force strat when that catapult's in the way, but honestly it's not too big of a deal. Here they're just using Lona's AoE special. Honestly, Gifted Magic is pretty decent as an AoE special, but the problem is the scaling, for quote-unquote balance reasons, is only 0.8 times the difference between Lona's attack and the foe's res. So that's how ridiculous shenanigans happen, like Nino surviving Legendary Lilna, because in any case with some blazing special, that literally would never happen. Unless, I guess, Nino pulled off some meme miracle shenanigan. Maybe I should try Miracle Nino at some point. It sounds fun until you realize it's just hard to do much with that. There's a lot of times Miracle's going to get procced when you don't want it to, since Nino is not the greatest at face tanking stuff. But, you know, we've seen her do some things before in some ridiculous rigged fashion. Are almost done here, and looks like this is a dual save team with Flame, which is definitely going to work out pretty well. Yeah, a few merges here and there. Yeah, just a few merges. Not entirely sure what I want to do for Astra season. Of course, our current plan is to plus 10 Plumeria. That'll definitely help out. Don't know if I'm actually going to plus 10 Regan. That's an interesting question we'll have to think about. Definitely as a free-to-play unit, Regan's pretty solid. Merges definitely help her quite a bit. It also doesn't help her as much as I would like. But here, Lara Shell, of course, is not going to do anything to Henriette, because Henriette is stacking quite a bit of res. And that juicy iceberg for 41 points of damage. Nothing to see here. Yeah, it's a little bit of res. And Cher is able to one-shot Shamir. Cher being bonus has definitely been helpful for her because her HP stats definitely lacking, so being able to one-shot and avoid having to tank is pretty ideal for her. But yeah, I'm kind of expecting in not vaults, we're gonna see a ton of fallen Edelgards or something. I do expect to see some like Valencian Palas or something and get absolutely rolled, because Our only actually good option to deal with Catria is, I guess, Bride Catria as well. Valencian Pala is probably just Milla, which is not a great sign. that doesn't seem very good. But Milla could feasibly double back, and because of the Brave Weapon, Bonfire's gonna go off. It could totally work out. Yeah. Here, they kind of do a bunch of stuff here, but at the end of the day, Gustav is just going to obliterate Olivia. Excuse me. And a pretty juicy 35 damage Bonfire for the GG. And for now, this is the last replay here. Haven't watched this one yet. Wait, no, I have. I watched this on stream. Yeah, the stream, I just finished streaming like, I don't know, an hour or two ago as of this recording. Look, it was a pretty decent stream. Quite a few things went alright. Did fix out some glitches and things. I think it's going, the stream experience is going to be like 1% better. There's definitely still stuff we have to improve on. One thing is getting Twitch bot in there. That would be nice. But here they just go into Fallen Edelgard to just try and attack Shamir. It doesn't work, and they don't have Smite on this team. And if you notice, Bride Fiarm can't actually isolate Olivia, so she's literally doing nothing. And Shamir here going to do quite a bit of damage to Fallen Edelgard. 40% damage reduction keeps her alive, but not from La Rochelle. And that means we can do the classic meme of using Far Trace and then picking up the kill on Catria here. I definitely need to study how the trace skills work in the AI's hands, because why exactly La Rochelle went to the right one kind of beats me. My suspicion is it has to do with enemy threat range, because from the left, Bride Fiorm was in range to attack. So maybe it's something to do with threat range. But also, to some degree, being as close as you can to the enemy. Probably via tile priority, I would imagine. But Bride Fiorm not doing too much to Duma, but still doing damage to Duma nonetheless. Unable to also kill La Rochelle. Mine is minus res as well, so that's not great. And they just need too many actions to pick up these kills, and so that means we can go on a rampage with Duma. Aw, yeah. Duma doing Duma things, and pick up the one-shot race in here, thanks to Fell Breath and company. And now he has a special up, which means Duma can absolutely obliterate Bride Fiorm, who honestly did not do too much other than chipping down our units during the previous turn. And well, at this point, not looking great. So, ripperonis. And with that, that is currently all the replays we have this week. In total, we lost like 230 lift on defense this week. Pretty expected. I was actually kind of surprised we didn't lose more, no Kappa. Because the defense really is, for sure, I mean, that is an interesting rank, to say the least. But, of course, it doesn't matter, because as long as we have our Duma on defense and some other Anima Mythic, we can never get a worse defense lift scoring tier than this. So that's perfectly fine by me. And of course, we weren't ever going to make tier 38, but missing on tier 37 is not too big of a deal. Not particularly concerned about it. But with that, yep, shenanigans. Just going around, dropping down to interval 19 as expected. Allegiance battles, definitely suspicious territory mode, but it will still probably be a decent amount of time before we actually start dropping out of top 1k in allegiance battles when we're using blessings. That's the key. And in Arena, did this on stream. This should be enough to stay in tier 21, but you can see it's very yikes. Let's just put it that way. Being able to access 760s seems to be a must. Also doesn't help that Marf is currently bonus in its fire season. That's going to change on the third week of the bonus rotation. I think next week is water and fire, so people will definitely get some real massive scores, which means we just have to fish. And Arena Assault did this on stream. Took a few runs to get this score, but we ended up eventually getting there. That's what happens when you're brain dead and you're trying to stream and you're just goofballing. Stuff like that happens all the time. But anyways, we'll be back when the results drop in. Alright, here you are. Kind of noisy background. Maybe it'll show up in the video or not. But pretty typical shenanigans when we're not trying. My hope is that we of course go back into Vault of Heaven, but that we can manage to stay during Astra season, which I kinda don't think we can. It's just because of the bonus rotation after that will give us another stab at trying to get as high as of a score as we can in Ether raids for the fun of it with our goofball offense team. But interval 19, pretty standard stuff. Arena, I'm pretty sure we stayed in. I don't think there was a hyper mass reroll fest, so we're staying in tier 21 most likely for the next 2 weeks. We just have to use a different arena team. 4-4-4, okay. We'll take it. And allegiance battles, last but not least, still top 1k, but we're definitely slipping, so definitely have to make that decision soon whether we want to build up a fire or wind legendary core. Pretty biased towards wind still, but still not quite sure. I think we'll just go with this team, seems okay. So let's just get that in there, and we should be pretty set. I don't imagine Arena will be too more difficult this week. Water Fire isn't too bad for us. Water Season might be, I don't know. We'll see. But until then, that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. As always, this is Ether Dragon, and hope to see you all next time. Bye!